Good morning, everyone. Whoops. Is this on? Good morning, everyone. Christina is back there going, "Get up there, Peg." I'm waiting for music, and she's telling me to get up there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome into this day with Quimper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary to gather as a community of faith. We join together in solidarity as a covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and by the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. We draw on experiences of love and wonder to lift our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, connoisseurs of curiosity, and creators of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so, let us worship together. My name is Peg Hunter, and I'm a member of the board here at QUUF. As we gather, I acknowledge that the water, land, and shoreline here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the S'Klallam and Chemakum peoples. We honor and acknowledge our Indigenous members and neighbors and vow to help restore and sustain these homelands. If you are visiting today, I offer a special welcome and invite you to join us for refreshments and conversation in the fellowship hall after the service. We have a newcomers table near the patio doors where greeters are ready to answer any questions you might have. Welcome to you all this morning. We're so glad you're here. Announcements. If you are still a bit new to QUUF, the membership and belonging team invites you to an informal coffee hour today. Get your coffee or tea from the fellowship hall and bring it back here to the sanctuary a few minutes after the service ends. It's a chance to meet other new people and ask any questions you may have about UUism or QUF or how to connect with others here. We have a brief announcement now about the women's retreat.
Georgie, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. These are really challenging times.
I'm sorry, can you say that in front of the microphone?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's kind of challenging these days.
I hear you, and you know, I've heard that the theme for the UU Women's Retreat this year is staying alive in challenging times. And boy, does that seem to be the work ahead of us now.
Oof, I hear you. When is the women's retreat happening again?
It's happening the end of this month. It's already March. So the weekend of March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
Oh, good. I got plenty of time to sign up.
Well, actually, the planning committee is hoping that they can get a head count. So if you could get your registration in by March 7th, which is the end of this week, that would be awesome.
Wow. I don't know. I've got a lot going on these days and kind of a careful budget. But I know that it would be really good for me to take some time to be with Spirit and other women, do a little deep sharing, connecting, and maybe have some fun.
Yeah, that's true for me too. Hey, I have an idea.
What?
You want to help me after the service? Sign up women, register women, and answer questions?
Ooh, I don't know. Can we wear our fancy hats?
Yeah, we sure can.
All right. I'll see you there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
So look for the fancy hat ladies at their table afterwards, if you're a woman. As Unitarian Universalists, we sometimes like to joke that we have questions for all your answers. So here's a question to ponder. Who would you like to see standing up here in 6 months, besides me? No, I'm not talking about calling a new minister. That will come in time. I'm talking about you. As a board member, I often welcome folks to Sunday service and tell them to know about and let them know about some of the many activities taking place at QUUF. Today, I'm here to announce that elections will be held in April for the church year beginning in July, and application for these offices start now. There are open positions on the board, the nominating committee, and the Endowments Committee, 3 different committees. We are looking for members who would like to deepen their commitment to this place we all cherish, to help guide it into the future we envisioned at the workshop a few weeks ago, and to strengthen our bonds with each other and the larger community. Do these ideas resonate with you? Can you see yourself announcing an upcoming cornhole tournament or a veggie car race? Maybe throwing in a bad UU joke. Instead of shouting out amen with UUs, it's often, Or perhaps helping to quietly engage others in service or ensuring our financial stability in the future. Well, we want you to learn. We want you to learn more about these elected positions and how to apply and converse with some of the current elected members. Please consider attending the nominating committee's open house, which will be held next Sunday, March 9th, right after the service. As in all things, we are stronger when we work together. Your wisdom, your guidance can help us realize our mission of service to our congregation and to the community. We hope to see you there. Applications for these positions are available online, and hard copies are available after the service. I invite now Frances Loubert to say a few words about her financial support of QUUF.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Frances Loubert, and I've been a member here for around 13 years. My instructions were to keep this to 3 minutes. As some of you know, brevity is not my strength. So it's taken me a heck of a lot longer to cut this down than to draft it in the first place. But I'll do my best. I'll also note that I'm an unlikely person to be up here giving a testimonial. Many of my past selves, most especially my past 13-year-old self, who kept her mouth firmly shut during our grammar school morning assembly recitation of the Lord's Prayer, would have raised their eyebrows in disbelief. Now, that's because I've never been religious in any conventional sense. And while my views have evolved over the years, I'm still allergic to some churchy words. Plus, speaking in front of groups larger than, say, the 10 wonderful people in our governance committee churns my stomach. Also, this testimonial is about pledging, and money scrambles my brain. And I hate asking people for things, especially money, although I'll give it freely to good causes. QUF is one of those good causes. This wonderful community has become such a positive in my life. I'm noticing that words such as minister, pledge, stewardship, and covenant increasingly roll off my tongue. Also, words like governance, policy, procedure, bylaws, and even fiduciary, which 4 years ago I didn't know how to spell, are now part of my vocabulary. That's because of the aforementioned governance committee. When we retired here in 2011 from Northern Illinois, where we'd lived for 30 years, we found a community, not just physically here on the exquisite Olympic Peninsula or in this vibrant small town, but here at QUUF. I found ministers I've respected and learned from. I found sincere, loving, and compassionate people who act on our shared UU values and principles. Aside from finding myself standing up here, here's another thing that surprises me. I ended up in leadership roles, social and environmental justice, board, and now governance. I joke, show up to a meeting and before you know it, well, you're the chair. But serving in these roles has been so very rewarding. I've learned a lot. I've had many opportunities to contribute. I've had fun, and I've made friends. Being involved is rewarding. I'd recommend it to anyone. Back to my silent protest at age 13. There was no separation of church and state at my schools in 1960s England, but I was a stubborn child, and although I wasn't brave enough back then to speak out, I wasn't going to comply with things I didn't believe in. God and prayer, for example. I'd mellowed by my later teens. I developed a motto. The only absolute is that there are no absolutes. This was partly a reaction to my younger brother, who I dubbed Mr. Absolute. But I was also discovering that in life, the more we know, the more we don't know. And that staying open to change is vital and enables the transformation we need to survive and to thrive. And now, all these years later, my early dissent and endless questions, my midlife involvement with peace vigils and advocacy for marginalized groups, all seem quintessentially UU. I know many of you arrived at QUF after some similar and some different journeys and found a home here. So you will probably identify. With existential threats right now to so many who are vulnerable, to our earth, to democracy, to so much we hold dear, including our future and the future for those who follow us, working together in loving community is surely the way forward, because what we value is under attack. I think about Cornel West's words, "Justice is what love looks like in public." We speak out and take action, and I love this about QUF. We come together to put love into practice. We support one another, and we act on our values, and we speak them. Perhaps we protest, especially at the moment. I did at the courthouse 2 weeks ago, and I saw many of you there. This is the out loud part. Well, perhaps, after all, I'm not an unlikely person to be giving this testimonial or to be standing up here asking you to pledge as much as you can afford. And if money is limited, if you're able, pledge time. And if money and time are limited, pledge your moral support. Living love out loud, the theme of this pledge campaign, is, for me, acting on our values. I value QUF. Pledging what we can is one way we can turn the negativity that is so pervasive every day in the news into hope. I know I'm not alone in discovering that the rewards multiply exponentially beyond what I spend. This community is priceless and essential, and we build it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Frances. One more way to support this beloved community is to attend our concert series. I'm out of curiosity, how many people attended the first concert here? A lot of you. Well, the good news is the second concert in the series is coming up this Saturday, March 8th at 2 p.m. It's called 88 Fingers, 88 Keys and 20 Fingers. That would be a lot of people, 88 fingers. Featuring Karen, Heather, and Eileen Soskin, who are playing our piano, our wonderful piano, with selections from Dvorak, Mozart, Debussy, Copland, and Chaminade. Come join this community building event this Saturday and see the weekly update for more details. And now, the announcements are over. Let us settle our minds and calm our hearts.
Our opening words, excuse me, our opening words are by Kim Mason. Once upon a time, chemists believed they could transform lead into gold or death into life. We laugh, but are we not in the business of alchemy too? Turning loneliness into connection, pain into comfort, anger into solidarity, faith into action. The subtle magic of church combines love with justice, creates hope out of fear, transforms individuals into community. Here we engage in a holy alchemy, finding beauty in the ordinary and life in the present. Come, let us be transformed together. Will you join me in our chalice lighting words? Here today in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and the world. May this chalice we light our way. Our opening song today is number 268 in the Great Hymnal, if you want to follow along with the music. Now let us sing. And let me note, this is a zipper song. Y'all know what a zipper song is? There's one word that we zip in and out, right? So we sing, oh, let us sing to the power of the whatever within. And the next time we might sing to the power of the love within. And joy, is that another one of the ones that we've already got programmed? Okay.
It's just a joy.
And what's the other one?
Faith, hope, love, and a joy.
Okay. Who has another word that they want to put in there? Justice.
It needs to be one syllable, though.
Oh, yeah, it does. Sorry.
Peace,
Peace. Good word.
P-E-A-C-E, right?
P-E-A-C-E, yes.
Just checking the spelling.
We are not starting to spin wool. We don't need fleece. We need peace. Dina, did you have one? Did I say? Fire?
Oh, I like that.
Ooh, that's a good one. How about one more?
The child within.
The child within. That's an awesome one. I have never heard that, and I have been asking for words for this song for forever.
Okay.
So,
I'll throw a child in there.
all right, let's get going then.
So, na-da-da-dum. Okay.
Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us
Sing to the power of the hope within.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the hope within.
Sing, lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the
Sing,
love
sing,
within.
now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the
Sing,
love within.
sing, lift up your voice,
Be not afraid.
Let us sing to the power of the love within. Now let
Joy.
us sing.
Sing to the power of the joy within.
Sing, now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the joy within.
Sing, lift up your voice,
Lift up your voice, be not afraid.
Let us sing to the power of the
joy within.
Now
Shout.
let us sing.
Let's to the power of the child
Sing,
within.
now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the child within.
Sing, lift up your voice,
Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the child within. Peace.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the peace within.
Sing, now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the peace within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the peace within. Fire.
Now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the fire within. Sing, now let us sing.
Sing to the power of the fire within.
Sing, lift up your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the fire within.
There we are. Y'all caught on really well there. Hey, it's time for all ages, and we're going to be kind of squished over here on the side, but I'd invite anyone who is young at heart, young in body and spirit, who's singing to the child within, to come on up. Oh my goodness, just be mindful of the stands and everything. Just a lot of stuff up on the stage. Thank you. We have such a crowd of folks. I appreciate it. So today, I'm just going to tell you, it's actually going to be a nice short little story. Adults will recognize it as a narrative joke eventually. And what you need to know before I tell you this story is that sometimes in some religious communities, people will come together and live together as a religious community. For men, that's called a monastery, and the people who live there are monks. For women, it's a different thing, a nunnery, or I'm not actually sure what the other word is. Convent, of course it is. That's right. Thank you all. And they will live there as well. So this is a story about a monastery. So there are monks there. And these monks have all made a pledge. This is a way that they honor their God. They say that they will not speak at all. They're totally silent. Could any of you do that? Not a chance in the world for me, I can tell you that. But this is their promise, and they are allowed to speak once a year to the head of the monastery, the abbot, and they're allowed to say 3 words. And a new monk came, and he was welcomed in and given all the rules and went about his business. And his first year was up, and he got to go see the abbot, and the abbot said, "My son, what is your word? What are your 3 words this year, or 2 words? 2 words. Geez, Louise, you would think I knew this story. 2 words." And he said, the monk said, "Bad food." And the abbot said, "Thank you, my son. You may go now." And a year went by, and things seemed to be okay. And it came around again, and he went up and was meeting with the abbot again. And the abbot says, "My son, tell me what your 2 words are for this year." And he says, "Hard bed." And the abbot says, "Thank you, my son. You may go." And so finally, another year comes around, and the abbot again says, "Tell me your 2 words." And the monk says, "I quit." And the abbot says, "Well, good. All you've done is complain since you got here." So I wonder if do y'all kind of sometimes feel like you're just only complaining? Anyone out there have that sense of themselves or their loved ones around them? Sometimes it's just hard not to complain. But in the service today, we're going to talk about things that we can do when we don't like what's going on. We're going to talk about the things that we can do that help us. And one of the things that helps us is joy, which is why we were singing about joy earlier. And I hope that we all can embrace the joy of this day and the joy of being together, especially as the adults along the aisle rise to make an arch and we sing our children out to their daily program, their Sunday program.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you every everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
We pause for a time of generosity and to receive an offering to be split between our fellowship and the food bank. The ushers will come among you to receive the offering, and additional ways will be projected. Please join me in our offering words. This fellowship is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
This is the time we set aside to share joys and sorrows. We recognize that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. And so we place our first stone today in thinking in particular of the massive disruption that is going on in the government's workforce right now. And we did not have any personal joys and sorrows submitted, but we still place a final stone, holding in our hearts the joys and, well, not the joys and sorrows that I've shared, since I haven't, except for that one, but thinking of the joys and sorrows that are among us, but are unexpressed. I'd like to invite you into a time of quiet and reflection together. I have had a request to extend the stillness that we share after this, and so we're going to be titrating it up a little bit as the next few weeks go, just so you know. Let's come together, starting with these words by my colleague Sean Dennison Parker. First, learn to listen, not only to enemies around corners in hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. Hone your skills, aim your heart toward kindness, and stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, we will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give the sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's pardon, to fight death with more death. In order to survive the apocalypse, any apocalypse at all, we have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived. I invite us into a time of stillness together. Our first reading is from the Sufi poet Hafez, and I was reminded that we are now in Ramadan, so it is particularly appropriate to share one of his poems today. To build a swing. You carry all the ingredients to turn your life into a nightmare. Don't mix them. You have all the genius to build a swing in your backyard for God. That sounds like a hell of a lot more fun. Let's start laughing, drawing blueprints, gathering our talented friends. I will help you with my divine lyre and drum. Hafez will sing 1,000 words you can take into your hands like golden saws, silver hammers, polished teakwood, strong silk rope. You carry all the ingredients to turn your existence into joy. Mix them, mix them.
Austin Channing Brown is a black woman. She's an author and an activist. This comes from her Substack, entitled Joy as Resistance and Joy That My Dignity Demands. I'm a girl that laughs easily and loudly. I always have. I delight in people who are funny, in people who tell the truth, in people who are weird. And when I delight in their presence and express that delight through laughter, people notice. I chuckle, I snort, I wink, I give high fives, I guffaw, because I love when people are being their true selves and speak from who they are. And I'm so self-conscious of it, I don't necessarily laugh at inappropriate times, but I laugh when no one else is. I am very easily amused by people, and for a while, I tried to stop. Tried to tamper myself down. Tried to force myself not to laugh, even when I really wanted to. I tried to appear more serious. Tried to pretend you had to work to get a reaction out of me. It didn't last long. Because I want to enjoy my joy. I want to be with people who delight in my laughter, in people who understand what I'm communicating, my delight. I don't want to put a lid on my joy. I want it to overflow.
Back in the days when I was in seminary, a small group of students undertook one of our Friday afternoon Vesper services. These services were almost always led by students and were attended by other students, the faculty, and the occasional outside visitor from the community. Some of them were brilliant, some of them were lame. In one notable service, people were literally lit on fire. I mean, seriously, people were on fire. It wasn't on purpose, just a note. On one Friday afternoon, the students putting it together wanted to offer something light and funny, and the service felt like some kind of extended stand-up routine. At the end of it all, after our closing parody hymn, it was, "Where is our holy church? We only wish we knew." Right, yeah. I felt something important had been left out and lost. I mentioned that to a friend who had been instrumental in creating the service and noted that there had been no room for sadness or loss or hurt in the offering. "Does it always have to be so serious?" he said. "Can't we just have happiness?" "No," I replied. "There always has to be room for the person who has come bearing grief, the person who is broken by loss. There always has to be some room for all of our humanity in every service. It cannot be either all terror and horror all the time, nor can it be just jolly, jolly, jolly all the time." Years later, he pulled me aside to say that he had taken that advice to heart and never sat down to craft worship without thinking about where to acknowledge the needs and dimensions of the congregation's lives that will be present in any sanctuary on any Sunday morning. I always wonder if he also made sure that he had a laugh there. In these days, I do fear a bit that we might be erring or might be likely to err on the side of giving voice to the catastrophe that is happening here in our country, and that week on week, I fear, would have us leaving this place more shell-shocked than we entered. It is a balance, absolutely, and most certainly I want to keep a watch on both the need for the prophetic voice in speaking about what is happening and the necessity of feeding our spirits every week. And that is why a swing came to mind. Now, some of you will have heard me tell the story about a facilitator who was leading a training for a group of us during the time I was serving in Vermont. I no longer remember what the context was for her sharing the story, but the story has stayed with me all these many years. She told us about her joy at first about learning how to watch for birds. She had become a bird watcher, and that the process of becoming a bird watcher meant that she trained her eyes and her brain to see those small movements that would detect that a bird was nearby. Do we have birders in the house? We have a few, right? You have to train your eye to see, to notice when there's a subtle movement nearby. She was surprised and delighted that as she built this talent, she could see so many birds in this rural area where she lived. However, on a trip to New York City, she wound up in the subway, and while on the platform, she realized that this new skill and practice of learning how to see birds meant that she now turned her head every time she caught a subtle movement and spotted the rat nearby. Yeah, so that sort of dynamic, right? That ability to perceive a new way and finding that you perceive new things that you might not have expected happens all the time with all kinds of learning. I remember, as I'm sure some of you do, back in the days when women's liberation was starting to become mainstream, and suddenly we all began to notice when women were casually dismissed or disregarded for no other reason than being female, right? right? The same sort of lesson has come for those of us who are white as we've learned about the tendrils of white supremacy that wind through our culture here in the US. Now, some of this is just plain old human nature, right? We have a negativity bias built into us. We all react more to negative information than we do to positive information. You know that's right. It's the one person who noted that the dress that we're wearing is not particularly flattering that we remember, not all the comments of people telling us that we look gorgeous today, right? Or the comment that we lost our place in the music when playing. I didn't notice any of you doing that. Just to be clear, wrote this yesterday, so nothing about what's happened here. Or the disagreement that we can't let go of, even though it's totally inconsequential. Anyone have that fight this morning, right? We've all been there. We're also more watchful for danger than we are for joy, I think, because danger is dangerous, right? Our survival depends on keeping a watchful eye, of being alert to what might harm us, and we are even more mindful of threats, right? Our startle instinct isn't there because we expect something good to come. It's there to keep us alive when we haven't wholly recognized something that's a threat that's nearby. We're still animals, after all, with instincts to protect us and who and what we love. That's why we have to choose joy, explicitly and directly. The Persian poet Hafez reminds us so beautifully, you carry all the ingredients to turn your life into a nightmare. Don't mix them, right? It seems to be a logical sort of idea that we can't follow all the time. He also says you also have the genius to build a swing in your backyard for God. That sounds like a hell of a lot more fun. Hafez prompts me to ask, where is it that you are finding joy in these days? It prompts me to ask, what is giving you life? And how are you keeping track of that? He prompts me to ask that of myself, too. I have to remind myself regularly to stop doom scrolling through social media, to be especially mindful of where beauty arises every day, and to keep building my gratitude muscle. My colleague, Sean Denison Parker, whose words we use to invite our time of meditation and reflection, reminds us to listen for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. He says that we should hone our skills, aim our hearts towards kindness, and stockpile second chances. I'll add that we must never forget the joys that come in resistance to all that demeans and destroys human life and dignity. Austin Channing Brown, who we heard from earlier, tells us this. She says, I pursue racial justice because it brings me joy. This does not mean that it is always easy or never disappointing. This doesn't mean that I am always happy or ever hopeful. I simply mean the pursuit of Black freedom brings me joy. And so when I talk about racial justice and the silly absurdity of white supremacy, I am compelled to laugh. In the words of Zora Neale Hurston, I like myself when I am laughing and then again when I am looking mean and impressive. You see, it's not just keeping our hearts open to the joy that is possible, the beauty of the morning and the sunset, the pleasures of a good meal with people we love, the comfort of community. It's also the joy in a good fight. Back in my childhood, my mother was a civil rights activist who took part in protests of all sorts and took my brother and I along with her at times. Once when we were picketing for open housing at the rental offices of a huge apartment complex in Virginia, the Klan showed up across the road. and heckled the protesters from across the street. They were kept there by the police, who also showed up. They yelled all sorts of awful stuff back and forth on the sidewalk. One shouted, "How much do they pay you to do this?" My mother, without a moment's hesitation, shouted back, "A lot, and even more because I bring my kids." Everyone laughed. The world feels, and is right now, more chaotic in this last month than I can ever remember. If we are to survive this time, we need each other. We need clarity about what is at risk and the willingness to speak and act in resistance. And, no less, we need to be mindful of the joy and the love that enables that resistance. Hate will not win us anything, my friends. Joy and love must. So let us remember, as the days pass, these words of the poet. You carry all the ingredients to make your life a joy. Mix them, mix them, mix them. So may it be. Our closing song is Libby Roderick's How Could Anyone Ever Tell You? And so I'm going to ask us to sing that through 3 times, and I invite you, if as you wish, to participate. The first time to sing it for someone who you love, and the second time for someone who you may be having a little bit of a difficult time with. And the third time, sing it to yourself. So let us rise together and sing. I send you out now to share yourself with the world. May its promise and complexity set your mind ablaze. May you hold fast to what your life has taught you. May you question everything. And when you have changed the world and the world has changed you, may you return to this place again and share what you have learned with us. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the power of transformation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.